Good afternoon. It is December the 16th, 1:30 p.m. here on the west coast of the United States of America. We are dual broadcasting today. We're back to our dual broadcasts, and hopefully the YouTube and Instagram folks can hear the audio loud and clear. I want to apologize to you guys for starting 30 minutes late today. Now, the reason why we started 30 minutes late today is because I went and picked up my glasses. And so the folks called me last night and they were like, your glasses already, come and pick them up. But it was about 5:30 and I had to be at an event at 7, so I couldn't go last night. So I went today and had to drive about 20 minutes and back. And so, yeah, it's great because I can see well, and my other glasses, which are old prescriptions, were making me tired quite a bit. So I'd wear them for the day, but during the day I'd get really tired and want to nap. If you've never struggled with this, you don't know what it's like to have to wear the proper glasses, or else your eyes just get really, really tired and you just want to sleep for a good portion of the day. So, apologies. Thank you, folks, for joining me here on Instagram and YouTube. What we'll do is maybe halfway through, we'll shut the Instagram off if there's people still on there, and then we'll tell them, hey, why don't you join us on YouTube? Because the YouTube community is phenomenal and you should be a part of that. So write in your questions. You're more than welcome to just throw some questions up there, whether on Instagram and YouTube, and then we will address those questions properly. So it is great to see that my moderators, who are phenomenal individuals on YouTube, are in the chat, ready to go, doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, what's up, Alpha? What's up? What's up, Arnold? Carl? Nikki? You've been away for a while. I've been away from what? I haven't been away. I've been here. So, yeah. I want to share something that's, I had a crazy thought today. Like, I have these thoughts every once in a while, and they scare me quite a bit. But we'll get to these questions so today I was shaving my head. Okay. Guess what thought I have? Why don't you guys guess what thought I had as I was shaving my head today? New glasses means more energized apologetics. So they're new in the sense that they're the same exact prescription, same exact glasses, same exact lenses, prescription-wise, but they're brand new because the other ones were scratched up. And, when I was in Armenia, those were the glasses that got stepped on when there's water that was splashed on my face. This is on Instagram. They fell on the ground. Some girl walked on them, and they were crooked. My son's kicked a soccer ball on them quite a bit. So it's great that these fit perfectly, and they're not doing all these weird stuff. You guys want to guess what's the crazy thought I had today? Do you want Croatia or Morocco to take their place tomorrow? Croatia. You wanted to shave your beard too. Yes. I was very close. Very, very close. But I made the right decision. Probably in the new year sometime I'll get rid of it. I got to trim this down, but I have these insane thoughts sometimes. They're very scary thoughts. I did want to shave the beard off as well, and I said, no, I shall resist the temptation. Go ahead and hit the like button, guys. Don't you dare. Yeah, I know. Gives me a look, doesn't it? No, I have to. Guys, every once in a while, let me put it this way. Every once in a while, I will, what I like to say is grow a new batch. Now, this one's I think I shaved this past year, once maybe or twice. When I say shave, I mean clear, razors, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it grows back pretty quickly. So I'm not, but it needs to get trimmed down. This is, I've been lazy. That's why it's this long. Okay, the Liberals decided to extend the Made for Mentally Ill law for 2023. So that is half good news, I guess. I can't say I'm familiar with this, by the way. I can't say I'm familiar with this law and extension and stuff like that. So sorry, I don't have much to say about that. The beard must live on. John Adams in the chat. What's up, John? How you doing? The beard must live on. I trimmed mine a few weeks ago, and I hate that I did that. Yeah, it's one of those things. You do it, and then you regret it. But I also think it's good for your skin it's like healthy for your skin to breathe and get some nice air and stuff like that. But it grows back pretty quickly, John. And John's got a really cool beard. So, what up, Instagram folks? Instagram folks, you guys can write comments in as well. I'm not just interacting with the YouTube folks. Now, if you want to join us on YouTube, you're more than welcome to. Just, youtube.com/Apologia Center. We are live. I love this beauty and health channel. My favorite on Instagram. Yes, Tom. Oh, man. I got, as you know, Tom, but I got those sound effects, but I can't have those go into Instagram. But the software I'm using, I found out today. Now, Instagram is rolling something out, and it's to a limited amount of people. I don't have access yet. But some of you guys might have access. They've randomly given access to people that you can go live on Instagram through your software. So I use Ecamm. So you can go live on Instagram via Ecamm. It's just I don't have the Instagram option. But some of you guys might. Check it out. So all the stuff in regards to camera, sounds, all that stuff can be on Instagram. I'm waiting for that. So excited. So some seriously cool stuff, guys. Seriously cool stuff. Beauty and health channel. Men's beauty, right? Like, here's how to take care of a beard. Put some oil in your beard. Taking care of a beard is a serious deal, guys. A lot of people don't realize that it's a lot of work taking care of a beard. Now, if you have long hair and a beard, man, I'm blessed not to have any hair and a beard, so I got only one thing to think about. But what's up, Steven? How you doing? Steven's the name. I'm in a good mood today. But if anybody's ever seen Braveheart, my favorite character in Braveheart is probably my favorite movie of all time. But my favorite character in Braveheart is Stephen, the guy who says, "Stephen's the name. I'm the most wanted man on me island." And the guys say, "You mean Ireland?" He says, "Oi, it's mine." So Stephen, what's up, man? Hey, Tom, if you want me to give you hints on how to grow a beard, let me know. I got you, bro. Tom's got a good beard. He's got really nice beard. So, but he doesn't have that gray yet. He doesn't have that, like, hey, man, I'm seriously wise kind of look. It's okay. He's got 2 young kids. They will give him plenty of the gray hair. Do you think people become atheists because they are too lazy to believe in God and think that atheism doesn't require faith, when in fact atheism requires more faith? Number one, I'm very careful not to assume people's motivations for believing whatever it is that they may believe in. So here's the opposite argument from atheists I hear quite a bit. And so I want to be friendly and I want to be fair and intellectually honest. Oh, you're a Christian because you're afraid. You're afraid of going to hell. You're afraid of this. You're afraid of that. Oh, you don't know answers, so it's a God of the gaps. You just jump into, right, like, oh, God must have done it. And so the atheists assume our motivations rather than realizing that maybe that motivation is there for some people, but it's not there for all Christians, right? Maybe we have intellectually rigorous and honest answers for the things that we have answers for. So I'm very careful not to just assume that atheists people are atheists because they're too lazy to believe in God. No, I haven't really seen that. I've seen people actually not believe in God because they've had issues with God, right? They have, whether it's issues with the belief in God or things that God does, those things. So I wouldn't say that. I just don't assume people's motivations for this sort of stuff. And then the second part of the question is because atheism doesn't, because they think atheism doesn't require faith, when in fact atheism requires more faith. Sure, but I don't think that's out of laziness. I think that's a true statement, but I don't think it's out of laziness. If you want, I'll shave my beard. I have no attachment to it. Well, that's because you haven't been friends with it for a long time. So this is Canadian politics we're talking here. The Liberal Party and the NDP recently extended medical assistance in dying, aka suicide through hospitals. Euthanasia is the proper word. They gave it to very ill people first and decided to extend it to mentally ill people. Yeah, I don't know if I would be for that because how do you justify mental illness? Can people recover from it? I'm not a fan of euthanasia. There's a really good book. It's an older book written by Francis Schaeffer and Everett Koop called Whatever Happened to the Human Race. I highly recommend folks read it. It's on abortion, medical stuff, medical ethics and all those. So pick that up and read it. Came into a lot of international criticism. So they decided to delay implementing it since they might do an election by this coming spring. Okay. What's up, Daryl? Daryl's in the house. We got that Why Jesus Network folks in the house. We got Daryl in the house. We got John in the house. And if there's anyone, if John Clash is in the house, anybody else from the Why Jesus Network in the house, drop a comment below, by the way. And if you're not subscribed to the Why Jesus Network YouTube page, go ahead and subscribe to that because we're going to be putting out content. It's a whole collective of folks with different expertise, different things to offer. On Instagram as well, go follow the Why Jesus Network Instagram page. And we got website in the works, all sorts of stuff. Really, really cool stuff that is coming your way. 911 Glock says, men are not beautiful, they are handsome, and only a handful of them. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, right? I think it's the way we define the word beautiful. For some reason, now this just went like into a whole serious discussion on why have we feminized the word beauty so much? Because you can look at a sunset and say that's beautiful. And that's not necessarily about it being feminine by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe it's guys who are like a bit insecure when it comes to someone saying, hey, you are, you're beautiful. I get it. Like, it's not like a part of our common lingo and stuff like that. But, and my kids are, my sons particularly are, they call me out on this quite a bit, and I mess with them. I'll be like, "You are so beautiful," and then they'll be like, "Dad, we're boys. Boys are handsome, not beautiful." So I get what you're saying, but I think it would probably go into the philosophy of language, which I'm not really good at. But yeah, what's up, Luke? How you doing, man? Thanks for being in here. Do you believe there's an ethical way of practicing IVF? Very, very, very good question. I think there could possibly be an ethical way of practicing IVF, yes. one of the ethical things to practice IVF is that every single embryo would need to be implanted. So if you fertilize 7 eggs, be willing to have 7 or more children. I know there's a grading system that is used. I would say throw that out. There's a whole which one's more viable and stuff like that. Just you fertilize the eggs, go through the whole implementation process, be willing to have all the kids. Those would be unless I'm missing something here, I would say your intentionality would matter there. A lot of people get into this. A lot of people have IVF, especially Christians, and then they don't realize what they're getting themselves into in regards to the ethics of it, and then changing of minds, right? You have 2 kids, and then you have 3 other embryos, and then one of, say, the husband or the wife says, I don't want to have any more kids, but then now you have 3 frozen embryos. So I would say the ethical ways to do them is you got to implement, even if legally we pass a law that says if you're going to fertilize this many eggs, you are now morally responsible and legally responsible to implant all of them. So yeah, if there's a backup to that, Arnold, please put it in there, because I know you're quite knowledgeable on the subject. Put it in there, and then we'll comment on it. Jaden, what's up, man? Found your channel because of Ruslan. Love your content, and I continue to pray for Armenia. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, maybe we could pray a bit more for Armenia currently, because there was some fighting. The Azeris seem to be, trying to instigate some stuff again on the border, and this is about a day and a half ago. Here's what I wouldn't be surprised, and I hope I'm really, really wrong about this, but I've seen a trend. It seems like every time there's something going on globally where the attention of the world is on that thing, the Azeris use that as a cover to do something, to attack Armenia or Artsakh. There's a bunch of environmentalists that are right now blocking access between Armenia and Artsakh, the only road leading there. They've turned off the gas, so it's a mess. But I would not be surprised. I really hope to God I'm wrong about this, that the Azeris launch an attack on Armenia proper during the World Cup, the final game. That wouldn't surprise me, because it's very much the way they've done things. Only country to start a war during COVID. Every time something's going on, every time there's major, it's Christmas time, it's New Year's time, people are focused on the holidays, all that stuff. They don't care. So keep praying. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Jaden. We have children put into adoption. They need parents. If that is the case, I don't get why IVF should be even a thing. Yeah, that's a really good comment. We have plenty of children that need to be adopted. I think that's a good pushback on that. But some folks, obviously, not that I'm not a part of this. I mean, but here's we got to be careful here, because how far do we take this? We have all these kids in adoption. Do you not have your own children, right? And in America, at least, adoption is very complicated. I wish it was easier. Women have only commented on me being handsome. Okay, how about when we consider the survival rate of these embryos? I remember back in 2012, I believe it was 1 in 19 that successfully came to them. Yeah, I remember reading an article, and this is, again, a bit outdated, where IVF, percentage of the child being born through IVF was quite low. I think this is a good response to it. It's like, are we putting people's lives in danger, right? And this is with the assumption that obviously embryos are people, or persons, whether there's a high risk of them dying. Why put them in the first place? I think that's a very good concern to have. Again, but the thing is that, like, the way we do politics and the way we just run society doesn't always start from the ethical perspective, right? Like, people don't sit there and analyze all the ethics of it and then go, we'll make this decision. People just do something, then they go, oh, there's a bunch of issues with it ethically, let's go back and see how to, like, take care of it. And that's maybe part of the problem. Let's say a woman has cancer and she gets pregnant, there's a 10% chance of the baby surviving. Would it be ethical to continue with the pregnancy? So this is a different sort of question, and it's very difficult to pass like a unanimous, not a unanimous, but a generalized kind of answer, because it's case to case. I suspect it would be different in every situation. But this is where, like, Thomas Aquinas's view of, and why am I forgetting? I'm forgetting my terms. Not good. Hang on. I think it's the principle of double effect. Yeah, so the principle of double effect would come in there, which is an ethical view on making a bad decision for a correct one. I want to see if I can put I'm gonna put an article in the comments section here on YouTube so you guys can check this out and read it. That'll give you a good breakdown of the principle of double effect. I think that it would come in there in that situation. I'm gonna turn Instagram off. So if you're on Instagram, head on over to YouTube. Okay, YouTube folks. The same argument could be made for those who have miscarriages, though, don't you think? Which argument could be made for folks who have miscarriages? Like, to get pregnant in the first place if they've had multiple miscarriages, is that what you're saying? No, I wouldn't separate those too much, Arnold. I wouldn't separate whether it's a wisdom issue or an ethical issue. I mean, you would want all decisions to be ethical and wise, right? I have two Russian friends who love Armenia and hate Azerbaijan. No comment. What's up, Harut? They are not environmentalists. That's why I said environmentalists. Those do not exist in Azerbaijan. They are all government-affiliated people putting on show. Yeah, correct. I mean, that's clear as day, right? But that pigeon video is hilarious. This lady, they're like, not pigeon, but they're doves. They're supposed to release doves for, like, peace, right? And here's something that many people don't know about me. For a job, for a time, I had a part-time job where I would release doves at funerals and weddings and stuff like that. And one of the things we would regularly tell people is, when you hold the dove, please don't squeeze, because you'll kill them. So you want to just, like, gently hold them from the wings, and then when you're ready, you just toss them up in the air. They'll go on their way, and they fly back home and all that. So you never want to squeeze a dove. If you will have the temptation to, but you don't need to. Just gently holding the wings, they'll be calm. This lady, like, talking with the bullhorn. She doesn't realize she squeezed the dove to death already, and she keeps, like, so bad. She keeps moving the dove around. The head's like wobbling. It's dead. And then everybody releases the doves, and she literally throws this dove in the air. It just goes crashing down. And these are environmentalists, by the way. You would assume that if you have a group of environmentalists, they would be very careful with the way they're treating nature. And it's very clearly the case this woman is not an environmentalist. All the environmentalists I know, I mean, that I've come across, right? Like barely eat meat and stuff. They're really, really careful with animals. They don't swing around doves and snap their necks. Silly people, man. Luke's one of the new guys. Luke, thanks for being here, man. Well, at least in the comment section. Maybe you've been watching the videos for some time. But what are your thoughts on the reason for animal suffering from a Christian perspective? I know that C.S. Lewis thought that the reason or justification for animal suffering was different to human suffering because they don't sin, so can't deserve suffering. So let me actually pull up a Bible passage here, Luke. It's not an aspect of suffering, in my opinion. And I think we spoke about this a little bit the other day when I interviewed Clay Jones. Up the passage for you. Okay, so this is out of Genesis chapter 3, verse 17. And to Adam he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it the days of your life. Cursed is the ground. So that seems to be a curse on the earth. Right. This is a curse on the earth. So if you go to Romans 8, 20, for the creation was subjected, notice this, for the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be set free from its bondage to corruption and obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. The idea here, right, is that the reason why there is animal suffering in the first place is because people sinned, because Adam sinned. Humanity's sin has affected the animal world, the created world. So that would be the answer I would give you, Luke, is that human sin brought into the world a curse on creation itself, according to Genesis 3. Hope that helps. Did you say the book was called Whatever Happened to the Human Race by Everett Koop? Everett Koop and Francis Schaeffer, yes. Whatever Happened to the Human Race. My guy Petros is in the house. Petros is joining us from Armenia. How to become a good apologist like your mentor. Hang out with your mentor. Spend some time with him. Read a bunch of books. Petros is making some... He's a part of the Apologia Center crew, by the way. He's one of the guys in Armenia that is producing apologetics videos in Armenian. So he's doing essentially what I'm doing, but shorter videos, not live stream stuff yet. But yeah, so he's one of my team guys in Armenia, and he's creating some phenomenal content in Armenian. So if you have friends in Armenia or you have Armenian friends, tell them to head on over to the Apologia Center YouTube page, the Armenian one, which is in, like, if you go to my YouTube channel and you go to the channels section, you will see it there. It says Apologia Center in Armenian. And then share those videos out. Instagram, TikTok, he's killing it, man. So Petros is killing it. Dude, it's 2 a.m. Go to sleep. What up? What up? What up? By the way, I set up the YouTube membership stuff. Finally. So you get like badges and stuff if you're a member on YouTube. I love bacon wrapped dove. Okay. I just took a different turn. What is your perspective on baptism? Do you think it is something needed for you to be a Christian? So every Christian should get baptized, but it is not. So here's the question. Do you think it's something needed for you to be a Christian? Yes. But it is not necessary for you to be saved. Right? So baptism is not necessary to your salvation, but as a Christian, you should get baptized. That is one of the sacraments. Every Christian should get baptized. Bottom line. Climate science is a religion. Yeah, and plenty of stuff, right, have religious components to them. So here's a disagreement. Climate science is definitely not a religion. Activists can treat it like one, though. Very, very well put. Just like people can treat anything like a cult. Very well put. Imagine eating the fish at the feeding of the 5,000. Fish that wasn't born from a mama fish in a fallen world. So the question would be whether Jesus is just like creating fish ex nihilo, I suppose, or however that miracle is happening, or like in the original state. When I say ex nihilo, meaning like within the original state, or it's like copies of the fish that we're used to, because it's already cooked, right? Like these fish are cooked, ready to go. That's the other thing. Jesus isn't like the miracle doesn't bring about fish that then you gotta, gut and cook. It's ready to go. The double effect is a great article. It actually helped with another topic as well regarding life of the mother exception for abortion. It's recently come up at MABC, so I've been rethinking it. Thanks. So I remember, I'm very glad you said this, Arnold, because I remember in my ethics class, just again, dealing with these sorts of things, and then I came across this principle, and I was like, oh man, this is brilliant, because it solves a lot of issues. It solves a lot of these issues when it comes to making a decision between two seemingly bad decisions, right? Or evil, I don't want to say evil decisions, because you're not going in there for like a moral evil, but two decisions in which the outcome are both bad. They're suffering to someone or the death of someone. And the principle of double effect, in my opinion, is probably one of the best ideas, theories, principles that ethicists have come up with, Aquinas, but even post-Aquinas, that helps us solve to the best of our abilities, situations of this sort. So I'm very glad you guys are thinking and reasoning through this. Thanks for the thoughts. Much love from London. London in the house! So the reason why I said that, Luke, is because I think you're the first person who's of the British sort in my channel. So we got folks from Canada and Australia and Germany and Holland and Belgium and Estonia. We're global guys. This is so cool. I brag about you guys to my friends. I'm just like, dude, like YouTube is really cool. Creating content on YouTube and doing live streaming is really cool because I get to interact with people from all over the place, literally all over the place. Right? So welcome, London. By the way, I don't know. I'm going to have a guest on. I'm going to have a guest on next week. Next week's guest, Joe Schmidt. This is going to be very interesting because Joe is not a Christian. Joe is a philosopher. He's a young dude. He's an agnostic. So we're going to have a blast. He's a cool guy. And Joe is an Arsenal fan. And I'm a Liverpool fan. And so you'll see some soccer discussions, football discussions in our conversation. And it was crazy because Liverpool played Arsenal earlier in the year, and I was at church. And I'm getting ready to preach, and Joe is sending me messages. Liverpool's losing. and lost. He's sending messages on Facebook, essentially saying like, "Yeah, go Gunners!" You know, we got. I was just like, "Oh man." Like I put my phone on silent. I don't want to see this right before I'm preaching a sermon, but it's gonna be a fun discussion because we got an agnostic guy that's gonna be jumping on. We'll be talking about atheism and agnosticism and probably defining them. Why he's not a Christian? He's very familiar with the arguments for God's existence. He talks quite a bit with Christians. He's got a lot of Christian friends. So we'll go through all those really, really fun things. And we'll talk about his YouTube channel and all that. So Luke being from England. So Luke, I don't know if you're a football guy, man, but I am. Sort of obsessively. My family is I breed my children to love it. Could you discuss why you should or should not follow the law as a Christian? Yeah, so that's not a very complicated thing. We are not required to follow the law because we are not under the same covenant. The law is part of the covenant for Israel. And so therefore, we are not under that covenant. We are under a different covenant. We are under the new covenant. And the new covenant has its own, I would say, laws and regulations, freedoms. So that's why we should not follow the law as Christians. If you have a backup to that, I would love to answer it, but I don't think it's complicated. Apart from, also the book of Hebrews says about the law that it's passing away, and what is passing away is going to become obsolete or useless. It's not necessary because the new covenant we have is a greater covenant than the old covenant. I don't understand, and not to be offensive here, guys, I don't understand how someone can study the book of Hebrews, and I don't understand how somebody can study the book of Hebrews and not get the message that we're not supposed to follow the old covenant. I think you are either misreading or reading with a bunch of assumptions and misconceptions. Louis Pastor. The more I study nature, the more I stand amazed at the work of the Creator. Amen to that. The climate science data is very cherry-picked. It's poorly explained, and it's a business for tax credits and green government projects. The younger kids think they'll be dead in 15 years. Well, that's the fear-mongering, apocalyptic aspect and arm of it. I'm pretty sure there's quite a bit of more balanced folks there. They need to do a better job at science. Yes, always. I know, huh? Who doesn't like clean air? It's like you go into a room and you're like, no, it's way too clean, you know. Bring in that car and then let's just rev it up and get that exhaust smoke into this room. I'd like that a lot more. What up, Art Squared? What's up, Future? I know. We know it's abstract, but I like it. Trying to hope all is well. It is. Part of my studies is on climate science. I like that. Okay, I've looked at climate data in pretty detail for 200 plus stations across the world. I have looked at stuff from Canada especially. I can tell you the data is good and not cherry-picked by normal scientists. It's the politicization of the data. I think that's the problem. No, but I'm meeting many people who recently are moving this way. I'm agreeing with you. So again, I was watching this Instagram video that I think is a TikTok video originally that Inspiring Philosophy put up about, you know, these conspiracy. Okay, here's the video, guys. It's so funny. Let me actually I'm going to pull up this video and play it for you guys because it is hilarious. So give me a second. We'll get Inspiring Philosophy in here. I hope it's on YouTube. Should be a short. Instagram. It is on Instagram, but it's not on YouTube, so. Can I make this bigger? Okay. I'll make the comment after we watch this video, okay? I hope the audio comes through.
Eden, actually in the North Pole.
So this is going to be one of those kind of mornings, isn't it? All right. Tell me the crazy theory.
In the book of Genesis, it says a river watering the garden flowed from Eden.
Yes, it says there was a garden. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but the North Pole doesn't have a lot of greenery. It also says Adam and Eve were naked. And that's not really the best attire to be frolicking in the snow.
From there, it was separated into 4 headwaters. We only know the location of 2 of these rivers, and logically speaking, the Garden of Eden should exist around that area.
You don't say. It definitely sounds more logical than the rivers being at, I don't know, the North Pole.
But what if, when the flood of Noah happened, everything changed? What if the landmarks were shifted, and what we identified are actually in completely different areas?
Well, then we wouldn't be able to find the 4 rivers of Eden, let alone at the North Pole, because the entire world would have been reshaped.
The 15th and 16th century Mercator maps of the North Pole showed a land with 4 specific headwaters emerging from it, bearing geographic similarities to what was recorded in the Bible.
Yeah, because we all know maps from the 1500s were very accurate. This is the map of Gerhard Mercator, who didn't even do a lot of traveling, and he got a lot of things wrong, like including the mythical island of Frisland. He also said there was a whirlpool and a magnetic rock at the center, which was not part of Eden.
In subsequent maps, this piece of land was completely removed.
Because we now know that is not what the North Pole actually looks like. Why does everything have to be a conspiracy these days?
So that's the point, right? So that's the point. I love that last statement. So why does everything have to be a conspiracy theory? Like it just fascinates me that we have so much info at our fingertips, so much information we can gather, so many ways we can reason through logically, properly, with everything given to us. And then, did you know the Bible says? And it's like, no, it doesn't. It does not. Nobody's believed that. Nobody believes that. Nobody's believed that. And I don't know where you're getting this stuff from. Right? Like, I see this quite a bit online. And I think the only thing I would guess is that it's just for clicks. Like, people have ran out of talking about truth. And maybe it's like the channels that they're running and all that stuff no longer can keep up. Because, if you come up with conspiracy theories and you base a channel on conspiracy theories, you're going to run out of that stuff. And then they just start just digging and finding really random thoughts people have had. Like 2 people have believed that. And they go, did you know there was a person who did this and it was hidden? It's like, no, it was proven wrong. And nobody believes it because it was proven wrong. And there it goes. It'll go viral because, and then a bunch of really random folks would go, oh, I believe that now. It's like, no, you shouldn't believe that. It's dumb. Why do I say this? Because it's like, why are people going back and starting to say Christians need to follow the law? Like, are you guys against freedom? Do you guys not enjoy what the Bible teaches in regards to under new covenant understanding of like what it means to be a Christian, right, in the New Testament sense? Are you like really that bored that you would want to go and follow the law in the Old Testament when you can read a passage like Acts 15 where Peter says, Look, why are we going to put this burden on the Gentiles? We didn't keep the law, neither did our forefathers. But some random guy made a TikTok video talking about how Christians have really fallen away from the actual biblical stuff and we should go follow the law because look what it says here. It's ignorance, quite a bit of it. And what we need to do is read the Bible better, read the Bible more, know the scriptures very well. I just gave you two very simple and good passages as to why we're not required to keep the law. Acts 15, very clearly there, and the book of Hebrews, the entire book. I mean, specifically, you want to talk about the law as obsolete. So, I don't know what to say. I'm back in Louisiana. Welcome back to Louisiana. Definitely disagree with animal and human sacrifice. Sorry, did I miss something about? I definitely disagree with animal and human sacrifice. Look at the Mayans. The Mayan people also liked sports. Did I miss something? Let me know if I missed something. We're on different sides of the baptism issue, so I'd like your perspective on passages like Colossians 2:12, 1 Peter 3:21, that point to us dying in our old self and being raised anew. Okay, so let me pull up those passages and then we will look at them. So Colossians 2. Before I read 2:12, right? Let's read, context matters. Let's read from verse 6. Therefore, as you received Christ the Lord, so walk in him, rooted and built up in him and established in the faith, just as you were taught, abounding in thanksgiving. See to it that no one takes you captive by philosophy and empty deceit, according to human tradition, according to the elemental spirits of the world, and not according to Christ. For in him the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily, and you have been filled in him, who is the head of all rule and authority. In him also you were circumcised, with a circumcision made without hands, by putting off the body of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ. So right before we get to verse 12, he's using symbolic language here. You see it. It's very clear in the text. In him you were also circumcised. And the person goes, no, I was not. We're talking about physical circumcision, which is part of the old covenant. And then he clarifies himself, right? This is not a literal physical circumcision. It is a circumcision made without hands, right? By putting off the body of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ. So this is a symbolic thing he's talking about. You've been made God's people, basically. Because in the Old Testament, circumcision meant you're the people of God. So he's speaking not literally here. Literally, right? He literally means you're the people of God, but it's not the circumcision that proves you're the people of God. It's this stuff he just said beforehand. You received Christ as the Lord. That's what makes you the people of God. And so walk in that. Verse 12, having been buried with him, clearly symbolic here, because we're not buried. You and I are not buried. Having been buried with him in baptism, in which you were also raised with him, through faith in the powerful working of God, who raised him from the dead. I don't think this talks about this in any way suggests baptismal regeneration. What this means is what I said. Every Christian should get baptized. Every Christian should go through baptism because it is the reality of what has happened to us. It's the reality that we are saved and we get baptized to show exactly what's happened. So there's a symbol. The passage very clearly suggests that there's symbolic language being used here, right? So verse 13, and you who were dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made alive together. God made alive together with him, having forgiven us of all our trespasses, canceling the record of the debt that stood against us with its legal demand. This he set aside, nailing it to the cross in Christ. That's pretty symbolic language. He disarmed the rulers and authorities and put them to open shame by triumphing over them in him. This is very interesting, by the way, that just a side note, the crucifixion was supposed to shame Christ, but what it really ended up happening is that God on the cross put to shame the rulers and authorities. In regards to the Peter passage, this was 1 Peter 3:21. This is, I think, a stronger passage. So baptism, this is the passage. Baptism, which corresponds to this, now saves you. Not as a removal of dirt from the body, but as an appeal to God for a good conscience, through the resurrection of Jesus Christ, who has gone into heaven, and is at the right hand of God, with angels, authorities, and powers having been subjected to him. I think there's a symbolic aspect in this passage as well, right? So notice what he's talking about. Let's look at the context. For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, in which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison. I'm not going to get into that. It's complicated stuff. Because they formerly did not obey these spirits. When God's patience waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were brought safely through water. Baptism, which corresponds to this. Baptism, which corresponds to what? This is what I mean that it's symbolic. Baptism, which corresponds to this. The this there is Noah and his family being saved in the ark. Again, the symbolic usage of this. Now saves you. Baptism, which corresponds to this, now saves you. Who's the ark? The ark is Christ. Right? The ark is not baptism. It's the fact that the ark, we're symbolically speaking here, it's the fact that the ark went through the waters. It's the fact that we get baptized, we go in the water, but it's not that saves us. It's Christ, because look at what the text says. Baptism, which corresponds to this, now saves you, not as a removal of dirt from the body, but as an appeal to God for a good conscience through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. These passages that we quote, number one, here's what I mean. This is just general comments about theology, and we can choose to disagree on this. That's fine. It's okay. I'm okay with that kind of a disagreement. But some might not be. Some people might say that that now you're making salvation by works, because if salvation is by the act of baptism, now that's a work. And now that, I think, is a pretty good response, and you're going to need a response to that, Alex. But whenever we see passages that are surrounded by symbolism, we should at the very least be very careful not to just quote those and say, look, here's a theology, I'm going to build on that. Never ever do that, because the argument is going to be, hey, it's a highly symbolic, highly controversial passage. This passage in 1 Peter 3 is extremely controversial in regards to its interpretations. The proclaiming to the spirits in prison, who are the spirits in prison, like it's really, really fun study, but there's different views and disagreements about it. So I wouldn't quote that. Now, are there clear passages in the Bible that teach us what salvation is? Yeah, Romans 10:9. Believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that Christ died and was raised from the dead, and you will be saved. You will be saved. Believe in your heart, confess with your mouth, you will be saved. Now, does the Bible teach us we need to be baptized? Absolutely. Like I said, every Christian should get baptized. Every Christian needs to get baptized. But that doesn't mean baptism is doing the saving. Like, if you're not baptized, then you're not saved. If you're a Christian, you should get baptized. So, pulling passages from very clearly symbolic passages and building a theology on that is not the wisest thing you might want to do. And then, so what you would need to do is go to much clearer passages. Everybody does this in systematic theology, by the way, Alex. You go to a very clear passage on a teaching, and then you use that very clear passage that's already there to clarify these symbolic passages. That's the way you ought to do your hermeneutics. Dogmatic activists use data for stuff that are delusional, but normal people who study this stuff aren't crazy. I see climate change is real, but I oppose the carbon tax, support oil and gas in California. Here's the thing, is that it's real. Here's of the opinion of climate change is real. I haven't studied this stuff, but I've seen it firsthand, like the weather acting in funny ways, right? Like compared to previous years. Maybe where the disagreement is what is causing it. Now, I tend to think that the earth goes through these cycles. And by the way, like scripturally speaking, I think we ought to be people who care for the earth because God's given us stewardship over. Like, I have a theological reason as to why we should be attentive to the earth and be good stewards of it. What people are disagreeing with is the causes of these things. And then there is not as clear and friendly discussions happening. Like, for one of the examples is wind farms, right? Like for energy. Nobody talks about like the kind of damage that does to birds. But it's clean energy. It's like, yeah, it kills a lot of birds. So there's all sorts of things of this sort. That, like, the batteries that we use in electric vehicles. I think I drive a hybrid. Electric vehicles are fine. But how much damage are we doing with the resources we need for those batteries? So these are the things that I think should be fine. I would say, if we can do stuff really well and do it clean and do it well, do it. Why not? I like LED lights. If it's good. From your apologetic perspective, after you prove a God exists, how do you then make the case for the Christian God? So I don't necessarily just go to prove that there is a God. I sort of prove that there's what I would call a morally good monotheistic God. Where I go from there is we have, here's what I do. There's two ways you can do this. I think this is the easier option that I like using. Is we clearly have all these religions. So all the polytheistic ones now are negated because we made the case for a monotheistic God. So what are the monotheistic religions? Right? So some argumentation, you can boil that down to essentially Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. All of them make claims. What is the one thing that really separates these religions, these three religions? The resurrection of Jesus. Because if Jesus resurrected from the dead, Islam is false. Because Islam claims Jesus never really died, let alone resurrect from the dead. Judaism obviously just denies the whole thing, but if Jesus resurrected from the dead, then all those individuals that continued on within those traditions are wrong. So I just start focusing on the resurrection, and I make my case for the resurrection. Because if the resurrection is true, then Christianity is true, the Bible is true. As a matter of fact, you can actually just use the argument from the resurrection with an atheist as well. Because if the resurrection is true, then God exists. Now, you can give those sorts of arguments for God's existence alongside. So it really depends who you're talking to. But one of the things that you might just want to do is say, hey, here's the resurrection. Let's talk about that. Because if the resurrection happened, The rest is all logically follows. On baptism, I've been hearing quite a lot from Catholic creators about baptismal regeneration and stating that this was the position of the early church. How would you approach this? Yeah, it very clearly was the position of a bunch of people in the early church, but a bunch of people in the early church also had other views that were wrong. So just because it was the position of the early church doesn't make it right. Who cares? Again, I love the early church fathers. I think we ought to consult them. We ought to read them. But they are very, very clearly wrong on a bunch of stuff. Some of the early church guys are universalists. If not universalists, borderline universalists. They're wrong. Some of the early church guys completely allegorize texts, and their hermeneutics is the worst hermeneutics you can possibly see. So Augustine, as much as I like Augustine, as much as I think we ought to read Augustine, I've given this example a lot, and I pick on Augustine quite a bit because of this. One of the greatest theologians of all time, definitely one of the greatest theologians within that era. Augustine completely misinterprets a parable. The parable of the Good Samaritan. His interpretation of the parable of the Good Samaritan is one of the worst exegetical jobs you will see ever. You think you've heard bad sermons? Read Augustine's interpretation of the Good Samaritan. It's the worst thing you'll come across. A lot of respect to him, man. He was right on a lot of stuff. So my response, Luke, is, so what? See, the problem is not, when it comes to Catholics and Orthodox, the problem is not, oh, the early church believed this and then I'm disagreeing with the early church. It's the theology that they have, that the church, right? The church interprets the text. Now, I want to be fair here. The difference is, I think the Bible is supreme. A proper interpretation of the Bible is supreme, right? The sola scriptura kind of stuff. Where they're saying, no, the church and what the church has taught is equal to that. And look, the church has taught baptismal regeneration. I'm like, cool. Well, what is the church? Well, all these, they're going to refer to all these early church fathers and stuff like that. Great, they're wrong. And I don't think scripture teaches that. That's what my response would be. Let's get this video to 30 likes, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, there's 29 likes. There's 14 of you guys in here. Maybe one of you guys hasn't hit that like button. Do it. The book Heaven by Randy Alcorn. Yes or no? I find it interesting telling others what the Bible says about the new earth so they don't picture themselves sitting up and playing a harp. So I haven't heard about this book. Maybe I have, I just don't remember it. Let me look it up. Well, look, I'm all for any kind of a proper theological view of what eternity is going to look like. And it's definitely not us in heaven playing a harp. And it's definitely not us being in heaven forever. Hey, we just hit 30. We just hit 30. 31. Look at that, guys. Killing it. Y'all killing it. Yeah, so I've never heard about this book. If you say it's good, then we'll take your word for it. I hate it when Christians especially fall into conspiracy and develop a distrust of everyone. It's a really bad thing, guys. Like the Bible warns against this, makes all of us look crazy. Here's what I'm going to do. And I've had this gentleman on my channel before. And I'm going to have him back because he just wrote a book on this subject. And this is a dude that I really like. He's a good colleague and friend. And I disagree with him on a lot of stuff. I got to get this book. I got to go through it. Oh, look at that. Is it available already? No, it hasn't been released yet. I got to pre-order it. I'll show you guys what the book is. So this is Mike Austin, who's been on my channel before. Just recently wrote this book called QAnon, Chaos, and the Cross: Christianity and Conspiracy Theories. Now, I don't think this is only the case when it comes to Christianity. I think we live in a culture that loves conspiracy theories. But so these are, I think they're essays, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're essays on this sort of stuff. I want to have them on and have a discussion on this and what they discovered and realized through all this stuff. But I'm very, very interested in this, because I've seen a rise of this quite a bit. It's just anything you say is some kind of a distrust towards it, and it does make us look crazy. Correct. To play the devil's advocate, I know that Lutherans argue that baptism isn't a work because it in effect is not something that we do, but what God does for us. Correct. Yeah, and again, there are responses to these. I'm not saying there aren't in regards to that argument that it's a work. I just don't see it very clearly taught in the Bible. The water isn't special, but the special because of God's work. So that's an argument that the baptism is needed to be saved. Crowd can argue. They can. Yeah, but Lutherans also, essentially, I think their view of the Eucharist is incorrect. But yeah. Nuclear energy is the most reliable and cleanest. We're talking all sorts of environmentalist stuff, guys. So the wind farm bird killing thing can be easily solved. Okay, cool. Through and through, just painting the fans with streaks of colors. Look at that. The convo about green energy is oversimplified, though. It's complicated. I agree. Like, green energy ain't gonna do nothing for Nunavut. Rivers freeze, so no hydro. Half the year is below -30, so windmills don't work. No sunlight, so no solar. Correct. So my younger brother, is a electrical lineman. He works for a very, very large electricity company here in Southern California. And whenever conversations of this sort comes, like solar, right? Like, he has solar on his house. I have solar on my house. And then we speak about this, and he goes, yeah, it's not enough. Like, considering the demand, right? That it's just not enough. Now, can you make it enough? Maybe, maybe not. But to get rid of some of this stuff, like completely, like nuclear energy or something like that. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but to get rid of completely seems to me that is just not realistic thinking. And a lot of the politicians that say things like this are doing it because they want votes. That's it. As this example was just given, and it's a great example. But again, if there's a way we can do it in a better way, why not? I've read that under the ice in Antarctica, they have found palm trees. There are many cities underwater today from centuries ago, so climate change is real, but it is the cause many people debate. Okay. We're at 32 now. 32, Nikki. It can take 10 years plus to create a single reactor. In the short term, it sucks. Long term, it's great. So politicians aren't going to take the long-term route with nuclear, sadly. There you go. See how this comes back? Thoughts on Augustine introducing determinism. Not an expert on this, but I can see why. So Augustine was a Platonist, and I can see how that would lead into this kind of a worldview. Again, I think Augustine's wrong on a number of things theologically, but did he introduce determinism? Look, I'm not sure. I don't know whether I would go that far and say he's the one who introduces it, right? Because some people would look at the biblical text and say, yeah, but some of that stuff is in the Bible. Some of that deterministic language is in the Bible. That's what the argument will be. and we can debate whether that is or not, but to be fair to our friends, we'll have that discussion. So if it is in the Bible, then obviously Augustine's not the one introducing it. But if you disagree it is, you might say he's one of the first major theologians who does introduce a certain kind of interpretation into that. So yeah. Weather Radar iOS. Hello, hi. We're talking about like global warming and stuff. Ashley's in the house. Everybody say hi to Ashley. Everybody say hi to Ashley, and let's congratulate Ashley because Ashley's channel just passed 100 subscribers. And you guys should check it out. She's creating stuff. Ashley is creating things that other people aren't doing. Things that have to do with legalism and things that have to do with anxiety. Here, I'll read you guys the last number of videos that she's made. So this one, a day ago, Ashley dropped this one, addressing anxiety, confronting the anxiety monster from a biblical perspective. Right. Let's talk about irritability. Right. Leaving legalism. I'm telling you, y'all need to check out Ashley's channel. Ashley, by the way, awesome thumbnails. I love how you've improved your thumbnails. They're looking seriously good. Keep that look. Just make all your videos. Just let people get familiar with your thumbnails. So yeah, very good. I should actually. I'm just, here's Ashley's channel, guys. We're advertising Ashley's channel. That is Ashley's channel. Y'all check it out. I was looking at a new tornado warning. Keep safe. Okay. Made a couple of videos too, but my video editor is on my PC back home, so I can't make videos while I'm here at uni. Uni for university for you Americans. You can edit videos on your phone. I don't know what kind of a phone you have, but if you have an iPhone, you can do it on iMovie on your phone. I know it's a bit thing, but you can do it. Trust me. And there's a bunch of other free editing softwares that you can get on your phone that will do a pretty decent job. UK, again. Oh, England? All right, that's good. That's good. See? Another one from the England. Since I'm new to the channel, may I ask, do you follow one of the major eschatological views or something else? So I am currently, what I would say I lean heavily towards a partial preterist postmillennial view. Not very dogmatic about it. I think that's just what the text leads me towards. Very open to being convinced otherwise. But yeah. So I'm looking at Ashley's channel right now. She's got 102 subscribers. Why don't some of you guys head on over, if you can, and subscribe so I can see that number go up, and I can be happy that some people from here went and subscribed to Ashley's channel. So let's do that. One of the best editing apps for the iPhone is CapCut. Correct. Yes. I have that one. But I haven't used it. I've used it. I haven't used it a lot. But that's what I've heard, that it's one of the best. Let's see. How long we've been on, guys? Started an hour and 15 minutes. Oh, cool. Okay, so Nikki, we got some endorsements here coming in. So Nikki says, I'm an Aspect of Ashley subscriber too. Fantastic videos. Give the link. Oh, that, you know what? I can't believe I didn't do that. Here we go. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're looking at the numbers go up. 103. There we go. We got one. Literally smiling so big. This community is the best. We got it. We're doing good, guys. Here. Because we're the best. You guys like those bells? I love church bells, by the way. I'm very sad that a lot of churches don't have church bells and they don't ring them out. Like, I would love it that if during the day we just had church bells going. Some churches still do it in some places, but that one of my issues with like Protestantism and stuff like that is like church bells are awesome, man. 12 o'clock, ring the bell, people. Let people know it's noon. You need to pray. Some of you guys are like, whoa. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'm a post-tribulationist. So I used to believe that. I used to be a premillennialist that believed that the rapture would happen in the post-tribulation. We'd go through the tribulation. Can you explain how far into preterist you would believe? So I think the book of Revelation was fulfilled in 70 AD. And this is why I would say I'm a partial preterist without the ending of it, obviously. So Christ... the final couple of chapters still needs to be fulfilled. But I would say most of the book of Revelation has been fulfilled. Okay, I have a more lighthearted question. What is everyone's favorite Christmas song? Ooh. My favorite one. Why don't you guys write it? Write it in there, folks. Let me see if anybody says the song that I like. I can't play it because then it's going to be issues. By the way, my Wednesday, the video I did Wednesday, I didn't take that down. YouTube took it down because usually they'll say you can't monetize this video because you played something from, another channel. But they didn't even say you can't monetize it. They just took it down. I couldn't play it. And I think it's because of the History Channel video that we looked at. So... My favorite one. Well, is it a Christmas song? I'm thinking like actual Christmas music, right? Like Christian stuff. My favorite one is O Come, Emmanuel. Love that song. Love that song. Ashley says, Mary, did you know? Because it magnifies Jesus' divinity and also very anti-Catholic since it shows Mary as a mere human needing deliverance. Oh, Holy Night is a good one. I have no idea what this is. Something British, probably. My favorite Christmas song is secular, Last Christmas by Wham! And Christian, Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence by Fernando Ortega. Fernando Ortega is a brilliant musician. Suggestions for a good eschatology book. I lean towards more partial preterist, but I still believe in future antichrist and persecution. Okay. A good book would be a commentary on the book of Revelation called Revelation 4 Views. I highly recommend that book. O Come, O Come, Emmanuel by Carol of the Bells. And Carol of the Bells, not Thereby. And Carol of the Bells. Carol of the Bells is phenomenal. That's very, very close to my top 2. It might actually be my top 2. I love Carol of the Bells. You get like shivers down your spine. Be a song with Frank Sinatra? What's wrong with you? The only churches I've seen with bells are Catholic, but yes, I like them too. One of the churches I went to, a Baptist church in New Brunswick, played the bell in the morning sometimes. It's got to be always. I wish churches played bells so people can wake up. Played handbells. I went to a church service one time where they did Carol of the Bells with the entire crew. Oh man. Live is amazing. Amazing. How Many Kings is good. Welcome to Our World by Michael W. Smith. Come thou long expected Jesus. I'll be home for Christmas. Honestly hard to pick. As long as you're not full preterist. If you haven't already, and you listen to Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence, it will become your favorite Christmas song. I gotta sneeze. Can I have a mod, please? You gotta be a part of this this community for quite some time. Then I give out mods. I just gave out mods actually. I had one mod who's quite busy. It seems like he hasn't been there. I just so all the mods you see in here are very new, and I go by demand. Like how much demand do we have for mod stuff? But Weather Radar iOS, I don't think I've seen you in my chat, so I'm not gonna hand that out. I gotta get to know you. You have a handball group at your church. Do you guys go caroling with them? Oh, that'd be phenomenal. You just stand in front of people's houses with the bells and then just carol. I'd love it if people show up in front of my house and did that. Silent Night is a classic, correct. Yeah, Silent Night is phenomenal. Little Drummer Boy is good, man. Bombs being dropped. I like Little Drummer. By the way, Little Drummer Boy by King and Country is amazing. If you haven't listened to the King and Country version, you're it's good. Joshua Aaron has the best version of O Come, Emmanuel. I completely agree with you. That's the only version I listened to since I heard it. Yeah, he's amazing. Joshua Aaron is really, really good. But I'm telling you, Little Drummer Boy, there's a live version. Oh man, I should play this. Hang on. Let me see if I think I'm going to play this. Hang on. I hope this video doesn't get taken down because of this. I really hope this video doesn't get taken down because let's do a collab stream just listening to Joshua Aaron. My kids love Joshua Aaron. That's like they sing along and they're like learning Hebrew. God, that would be amazing. Do you guys think if I play this video, it'll get like demonetized? I mean, it'll get demonetized. I don't care about that. But whether it would get, I don't want it to get taken down. I don't want the stream getting taken down. I don't care. The thing is that I don't want it taken down because I want people to, watch this, the replay. Here we go. Awesome.
They told me power up a pum pum. A newborn king to see power up a pum pum. Our finest gifts we bring power up a pum pum. To lay before the king, power up a pum pum, rump a pum pum, rump a pum pum. So to honor him, power up a pum pum. When we
This is for my buddy Glock 911, by the way. This is because you said, hey, little drummer boy, and he said he gets tears in his eyes. That's why.
I am a poor boy to power up a pum pum. I have no gifts to bring power up a pum pum. That's fit to give a king power up a pum pum. Rump a pum pum, rump a pum pum. Shall I play for you, power up a pum pum, on my drum? He smiled at me, power up a pum pum. Me and my
music is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. Good music is a good thing, and that's good. PT, prayers. Prayers for your family. Condolences as well. May God comfort your family by His grace. Actually said this song is making me so hyped. I know I just want to like rip something up. Oh man. Let's see. For King and Country is they're good. I think they have one with Carol of the Bells too, I want to say. Yes. Oh no. I'm going to play their O Come Emmanuel. Even though I think Joshua Aaron's is fantabulous, but just because of like the instruments, right? Like that's I have no idea. I didn't see Kanye's prayer. I don't know what you're talking about.
Would you stand with us and sing this chorus? Rejoice. Rejoice.
shall come to sing it again. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Won't you come? Won't you
Okay, that was phenomenal. Dean says, couldn't cooking, so can't keep in the chat, but had to ask, who do you bribe to be allowed to play this rad music? I didn't bribe anyone. It's on YouTube. You can play it too. You probably get like a thing. I mean, you won't get a strike, right? You either will get a notification saying you can't monetize the video, or your video will just be taken down, like mine was from Wednesday. Those aren't strikes. It's just you can monetize it, or if you do monetize it, sometimes people will be like, you can monetize this, but we're going to get a percentage of whatever you're making. I'm like, cool, 15 cents from that video, you can have 8 of it. So I'm cool with that. So yeah, I appreciate this, man. Appreciate it quite a bit, European folks. Appreciate this a lot. I have no idea what this is about. Starts at the 1 minute mark. Sorry for sending the... Okay, so you can send links. If you want me to... you guys, in the YouTube chats, you guys cannot send links unless you're a moderator. If you do, YouTube just takes it down. So I don't know what that is. You can email it to me, or even if you send it to the general, if you're in the Discord, send it to the general. Thanks for playing that music. Well, you're more than welcome. I didn't have to do anything. There's professional singers who, trust me, you don't want to hear me singing. I am bad. We have 84% of people who said that they liked this this stream, which means there's some people who are like, no, I'm not gonna like it. I'm gonna say no. It's just hilarious to me. If you're not, just say no. If you're not, just don't like it. But you're gonna click a button saying you didn't like it. I love it. Engagement is hilarious. That was good music. Bye, back later after my video for tomorrow morning. Take care. Okay, so let's go check out. These guys are doing some street preaching. Let's go check out street preaching. Yeah. Times Square. Are they live right now? They are live. Oh, it's raining. They're gonna sing.
On the mountain, over the hills and everywhere, go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Go, come on, tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus.
No. Bad cell service seems like in Times Square. Well, lots of people there, right? So, hey, by the way, I wonder if I can find this. Nikki, you just reminded me of something that I did when I was in Bible college, and it was something like a flash mob, and it was called the Freeze Project, and you'd show up with a bunch of people, and it had to do with human trafficking and stuff like that, and you'd show up, and did we do ours? You guys are gonna see a very young Arthur. Completely forgot about this. There's a bunch of them, and I think I'm in two of them. One of them, I just found it 13 years ago. I organized this one. And hang on, the music's really loud. So I organized this one. And this is going to be hilarious. And I think we, I forget what we gave out, but gathered a bunch of people together to do this. So this is 13 years ago. I think this one was specifically, it had to do with abortion that we did, but human trafficking, things of that sort. Completely forgot about this. Got a bunch of people from our church, got a bunch of people from different churches. You show up somewhere and just, you freeze at the same time. And then you pass out flyers afterwards, like what we just did. So here it is. You guys ready? Hey, if you're ready for this video, put a little one in the comment section. Come on, let's see you guys. Uh-oh. I just messed stuff up. Okay, I'll bring that back. Put a 1 in the comment section if you're ready to see this video, and then I'll bring that. I'll bring my wherever my thing went. Where am I? I thought it was locked. There I am. Sorry, guys. I can't believe I just did this. There I am. You guys see me? Right? It just found me. Probably not what we want. I usually have these locked so that when I'm playing with my mouse here, crazy stuff don't happen. But clearly it did. Confession time. Before we go to this video, confession time, Arthur. Whenever I join your lives and that poll comes up, it makes me answer immediately if I have liked the video. Yet I technically haven't. So I hit no, and then the poll goes away. So Ashley, you're the person. Okay, let's play this video. It's kind of loud, the music, so I turn it down. Some young folks. That's me. She's been breaking up inside. Singing without tongues, screaming without lungs. I want more than my lonely nation. I want more than my lonely nation. Desperate we are young. Separate we are one. I want more than the desperation. I want more than my lonely nation. We are the target market. We set the corporate target. That's an actual proposal. Okay. So, this is phenomenal, okay? So the point is, like, you're frozen. Guys, so you're frozen for like 2 minutes. And then, you know, take the pictures on that so everybody freezes. That dude proposed to that girl. And she had to answer after the freeze. It was brilliant. The target market. We set the corporate target. We are slaves of what we want. These are cool. These are smart, man. They do that at the windows. We're just numb and amused, and we're just used to bad news, and we are slaves of what we want. Singing without tongues, screaming without lungs. I want more than my lonely. Smart dude. It's funny how people like just trip out. They're like, what's going on? Don't leave me home. I'm tired. Don't leave me home. I'm tired of feeling low, of feeling low. And I forgot about these. You guys can use this idea to do some evangelism. Years ago. Barnes and Noble still exists, man. It's like the old days when Barnes and Noble still existed. Barnes and Noble still exists. In that same exact spot. Yeah. Arthur as a And I did the Hollywood one too. I did 3 of these. Well, I didn't organize 3 of them, but I participated in 3 of them. So one of my professors actually came out with the idea. It's a good way to do evangelism and just various things. But yeah. Arnold says the poll question is convicting because every time it comes up, he says, "Why am I not liking supporting my brother's video? You guilt trip us into liking it." Not the goal. It's actually one of the things I realized is even just for myself. Like I stole this idea from Ruslan. I'd go watch his streams and I wouldn't like it, and then every time I would see the poll, I would like it. Actually, I was like, "Oh, that's I gotta like the video," and I was like, "Wait, why am I not doing this?" I just put it up there. It's a good reminder for people who jump in. It helps with the algorithm, guys. The algorithm loves it when it sees a bunch of comments and likes. So it goes, "Hey, cool, let's pop this up there." Always tell the truth. Amen to that. You guys are all like confessing, man. This is crazy. It's good to see how it won't let me do anything until I answer it. Why? No lies. If the question, will you hit like, I can say yes. So seeing Arthur with hair is surreal. Interesting. I've had all sorts of weird haircuts over the years. I want to see if I can find another video where I'm in it. I'm in one of these. 3rd Street, we did one. I want to see if I can find. I just realized there's some videos and there are some guys I know that are not that skinny anymore, so I'm going to send them some of the frames. That was a crazy one. Some people get creative with their freezes. I did one and it was pretty hard because I had to keep my arms up. Show you guys the picture at least. I should have hair in that one. I'm not going to show you guys this. Making an apple crisp right now. Okay, we'll finish up soon. Hi, question. Oh, truly believe and am convinced. Do you mean I? I truly believe and am convinced of it. But what is the reason why we should believe Jesus' resurrection is a part of salvation? The reason is because if Jesus didn't resurrect from the dead, he was lying. The resurrection itself is evidence that Jesus conquered the grave, because remember, the original curse on humanity is, if you sin, you shall surely die. So by resurrecting from the dead, Jesus has conquered death itself. Remember, Jesus' resurrection is a physical resurrection, not like he spiritually or metaphysically or something like that rose from the dead. It is a physical resurrection from the dead. So it is to show that he has conquered the grave. And so we believe in the death and resurrection because the entirety of that story matters. I would probably be super panicked if I saw this in real life. Like, just like 200 people just stopping around you. You guys are hilarious. Oh, you mean this is hilarious. Will you marry me? And then you wait 2 minutes and she goes, sorry. I don't get it, by the way. I don't understand how people propose, and they're just not like in tuned with, and forgive me, I'm not trying to, maybe I'm just ignorant on the subject. I suppose if you're in a relationship with someone and you're at a point where you want to get married to them, you've had those conversations, and that if you're going to propose, you better be sure the answer is going to be yes, or else don't. Like, are you trying to like convince them at the proposal? It just makes no sense to me. So I don't get it when people propose and the girl says no. And I'm like, you guys aren't as close as you thought you were. Something's off there, right? Like, Islam is denying Jesus' death and resurrection. Yeah, clearly. I mean, if they deny that he died, then they're going to deny that he resurrected. Good night. Take care. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, man. Okay. Is there are there any final thoughts here, guys? It's we started a little late. We're almost coming up on 2 hours. Marty Christmas. I get it. Merry Christmas, or Happy Christmas to you as well, right? As the British say, Happy Christmas. I'll send you some good songs on IG. We got to listen to some good music. See you, Arnold. Hope the Sunday service with David goes well. Thank you. By the way, if anybody is in the Los Angeles area, we're having our official church launch, welcoming our new pastor this Sunday, 10 a.m. We got activities for kids afterwards and stuff like that, and so we're going to eat together. If you're in this area, you don't have a church, reach out to me on Instagram. You're more than welcome to drop by. If you have friends in this area, you want to send them our way, we will love to have them. So that's a little advertisement for my home church. So predictions. Look, I've said this. I wasn't rooting for Argentina or France, but now that it's come to Argentina and France, Argentina. I don't want France winning back-to-back World Cups. And so I'm a France hater more so. I also think it'll be cool to see Argentina win it. They haven't won it since 1986. That's as old as I am. So I will be cheering for Argentina. And Messi will solidify himself very clearly if they win this World Cup. If they lose, that's 2 finals he's made it to and lost. That'd be tough. But so I hope they win. I wanted Morocco, my North Africa. Morocco, man, they're a special team. Did really well. I think those players are going to get some nice contracts this winter or in the summer. This video was just banned. Yeah, I know how you're gonna get it. I'm gonna get some kind of a thing. The French government has banned your video. That's okay. Okay, guys, 2 hours, 36 minutes, 36 seconds. Thank you guys for hanging out. It's been a pleasure. Loved it. I will see you guys Monday. I'm working on editing some videos, trying to get those out to you guys as soon as possible. I think I have the rest of the day to myself, so I can do some nice editing and maybe even recording. So look out for those things, and I will see you on Monday. Take care. God bless you guys, and I will see you later.